Netflix, let's move on, has sparked more fury with plans to recreate Princess Diana's tragic final moments in Paris. Season 5 of the royal drama The Crown, which isn't out until next month, was already under fire for seeming to portray the Windsors as scheming backstabbers. But, according to today's front pages, crew on the show now fear a line is being crossed with the latest Diana storyline. Here to debate all the royal rights and wrongs, former BP press secretary Dickie Arbiter, talkTV's royal editor Sarah Houston, and the woman who thinks Netflix publicity is actually good for the royals, Viscountess Hinchingbrooke, Julie Montagu. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You all right?
Yeah, very well. Thank you for having me.
You married into the British aristocracy.
I did. And
you stayed, unlike Wallace Simpson.
and Meghan Markle. I have stayed. I
want to get through a whole show without mentioning her. Explain to me how this can possibly be good for the royal family.
The royal family is the most famous family in the whole wide world, and the UK is really the only country that still has this monarchy left that people flock to. So if we get rid of the monarchy, then we won't get the tourism, and all Netflix is doing is they're combining some factual scenes with a lot of fiction. And they've said that before over and over again.
That's the point, Sarah, isn't it? There's a big outcry today based, of course, on things about Diana's final few months. You can add into the mix, hold on, this is Netflix, that Harry took all that money from and went away to get from the press intrusion that got his mother in the end, is what he said. What's really caused all of this today? Because there is a point. This is a television show. People know it, right?
Well, I mean, you're saying that, but that's an assumption we're making, and it doesn't say it. And Netflix have been asked repeatedly, haven't they, to put a disclaimer on to say that this is fictional. Their statement, they're saying today it is a fictional
Shall
dramatisation.
I read that, actually? Because they actually... Series 5 is Series 5, that's interesting, is a fictional dramatisation imagining what could have happened behind closed doors during a significant decade for the royal family, one that has already been scrutinised and well documented by journalists, biographers and historians.
And there's two things that are causing controversy. I mean, this is the most controversial series because it covers the 1990s. So it covers the breakdown of the Waleses' marriage, it covers the Martin Bashir interview, it covers the death of Diana. But and the timing's sensitive, coming as it does after the Queen's death, the King's ascension. His popularity has soared, but there will be concern as to how damaging this might be. But also those imaginings of conversations. Sir John Major, the former Prime Minister, has come out with a really furious statement describing this as an absolute bucket load of nonsense, that this is malicious, that it is damaging because of a conversation that is portrayed in the programme, which suggests that Prince Charles goes to him and says his mother's not fit for the job and that they should consider an abdication. And Sir John Major has said this is absolute nonsense. Nobody came to him and checked it.
Are we being, Dickie, and I'm with Sarah, but are we being oversensitive? I look at it in all sorts of ways. Are the Crown on Netflix just trying to generate interest? I mean, Sarah would know more than me. I've never thought that it was nailed on to be factual. I thought it was a blend of fact and fiction, and people are getting their knickers in a twist right now, and I understand it, the sensitivity, the Queen's just passed. It's not a documentary, is it?
It's not a documentary, and Peter Morgan has said it's not a documentary, but he's playing around with history, a bit like Shakespeare did.
Yeah.
It is fake history. And he's creating dialogue, which, interestingly, in his film The Queen, there was a disclaimer right at the end saying that it was fictionalised content for dramatic purposes. None of that now. You read out a statement from Netflix. Nobody's going to see that. Who's going to see that? It's not there on the screen for people to say, this is fiction. We're going to accept it as fiction, but we're going to accept it as entertainment.
Do you take what Julie says, almost saying that any publicity is good publicity? I mean, I thought, and it sounds a terrible thing to say, I thought that the sadness of the Queen's passing showcased absolutely the brilliance, every marvellous aspect of the British royal family, and the coronation we've had arguments about should be slimmed down. I happen to think it's an amazing, unique thing that brings so much to this country. Do you agree with Julie when she says that actually the fact people are talking about this is good for the Crown?
Yes and no. it's good that people are talking about it. They're talking about the royal family. But when you're producing fake history, people are looking at the perception of the royals and they're accepting what they see in Netflix as gospel, as the truth. And that's something that actually happened. But it didn't happen. It's in the imagination of Peter Morgan.
Do you think the responsibility should be on the programme makers to say this is not fact, it's fiction?
Well, I think they've come out with their statement, and we're having this conversation right now.
It's great for Netflix, isn't it? Because we are having this conversation.
We are having this conversation.
They were going to stop at series 5, but they've got a 6th series.
But am I missing the point? Who watches The Crown, unless I am missing the point? I was talking to Dave about this. Who watches The Crown and goes, oh, that's definitely what happened?
Well, I've lost track of the number of people who've come to me and said, I've learnt so much about the royal family from watching The Crown. Now, of course, there are depictions of historical events, but there's a huge amount that is imagined. And I think sometimes, perhaps, we get caught up in the drama.
And I think in this country, people are aware of the royals and what they do and some of the bad things they've done. Unfortunately, this is a small part of the audience. The big audience is across the pond.
America.
And the Americans believe anything. Believe Mark.
Wow, and sweeping generalisation from Dickie. Do you believe anything, Julie?
I believe everything.
Let me finish. Believe Markle and Harry and you believe anything.
No, OK, I would like to say that I think my country will take notice of, you know, this Netflix statement. And they have put it out. We're talking about it now. But let's also remember, you know, again, as I said earlier, this is the most powerful family in the world. This is going to help this economy, not to get political here. The dollar is very strong right now. Let's bring those Americans over. They come over for this pageantry, for the royalty.
Even if you start
and this can help elevate that more.
30 years ago.
Well, let's talk about it. Let me give you two things. Do you think it's because, Sarah, the 90s is a bit too near to us all? When we talk about history in the 50s and 60s, it seems a bit more acceptable. It's a bit... Of course, I remember the 90s. What I'm saying is it's a bit near the bone, isn't it?
Look, I love The Crown. I find it fantastic entertainment. But as I was watching Series 4, I do start to feel less comfortable the closer it gets.
Brilliant. That's exactly what I feel.
And
it was all right in the 50s and 60s, seeing her in Kenya and her father died and she exceeded. But
yeah,
suddenly...
but then you had a good actor playing the Queen, Claire Foy. It started going downhill.
He's on it tonight, Dickie. Honestly,
Dickie.
Imelda Staunton, you're rubbish. All of it, according to Dickie. Right, honestly. Olivia Colman, rubbish. Oscar winner, rubbish.
You said it, I didn't.
Well, you did. You said it was all going downhill. The other thing about the royal family that I think is fascinating is what Julie said, that they are and have this hold, it seems. But a lot of people are talking about that hold is going. Is this Netflix digging away, do you think? Undermining, or are we blowing out of all proportion here?
Well, I mean, look, after the Queen's death, Series 1 and 2, the early series of The Crown, saw a massive surge in popularity again. They started trending in the top 10 on Netflix. People were seeking more information and going out to look for that history about the royal family. But, you know, these are the stories that they don't want to be retold.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Buckingham Palace not commenting. The King today in Aberdeen, keep calm, carry on. But I think for Prince William, and sources close to him have suggested he will be very, very uncomfortable.
Let's talk about your favourite subject. I'm just going to, very quickly... Prince Harry is on Netflix's payroll.
Yeah.
If you imagined that a programme or a network was upsetting your father, your grandmother's memory, the reason he went to America was because he didn't want the press to do to his wife what apparently they did to his mother, shouldn't he jump in? Doesn't this yet again say, Harry, you are so missing the point, son?
But he's not going to jump in, is he? That, unfortunately, is the case. It's money is speaking. You know, what Julie was saying, we're living in a country of living history. What Netflix is producing is fake history, and people are intelligent enough to try and disseminate what is real and what is fake. Unfortunately, Netflix has got such a powerful audience worldwide that they might err on the side of believing what
Maybe we should give
says.
more credit to people. Here's a question to finish it all. Will it, Julie, for you, will this publicity, these talks, these news, will it make you more or less likely to watch The Crown?
I mean, it will absolutely make me... now we're all talking about it. Of course I'm going to watch
I'm going to watch it to
season 5.
work out what they got wrong.
I'm going to watch it because it's a brilliant piece of entertainment.
I'm going to watch it because...
You don't like who plays the Queen, man. Why are you going to watch it?
If I don't watch it, I won't be here talking about it.
Research, ever the professional.
He'll be out of a job if he doesn't watch it.
Is it not entertainment? And we take
as long as
it at
people
that.
accept it's entertainment, don't believe what is being said because the writers do not know what was said.
And we talked about an American audience, but also a younger audience coming to some of these stories from the 1990s for the first time.
Yeah, it is. I think it is the point of what I said about how it was seemingly more comfortable to talk about the 50s, 60s and 70s. But, you know, it's like our kids will study the pandemic. Our kids will talk about the Falklands War. Our kids will talk... all the stuff. Well, we're old, you're not. But it's true. It'll be very interesting. Listen, thank you so much, Dickie and Sarah and Julie.
Thank you.
It's on in November. I guess the truth of the matter is a lot of people will watch it because of the fact we're talking about it. I'll be watching it.